you may look at a timeline like this and it may feel a little messy, as all good editing timelines do. But really, like this is a pretty clean, organized timeline. Even if it looks, unlabeled or you're not exactly sure where things are. So let's start by looking at the video layers and just go one by one and show you what each one does. Because pretty much like every element has a layer and it sticks to it throughout the entire short. For example, let's go from top to bottom. So let's turn off all the layers except the bottom one, which you can see are the backgrounds, of course. Of course they are. And then above that is the character line art. And then above that is any additional effects, like, for example, these little flares that appear to accent certain pieces of action, as well as above that is text. And if there's anything else that is above that in layers, it's any additional effects or text. This changes a little bit for scenes 3 and 4. For let's show an example. For scenes 1 and 2, you can see that the dialogue lip sync is baked into the line art. Here, like the mouths are rendered as a part of the line art. That is not true for scenes 3 and 4. For instance, here's Dan Man, and separate from that is the mouth layer. And that was just like I was trying to iterate on my process for doing lip sync. And so for the first 2 scenes, I'm doing the lip sync in Blender. I do all my 3D animation in Blender. And for scenes 3 and 4, I did the lip sync in DaVinci because I thought that just might be a little bit easier. Both of those approaches had their limitations, and I used the same mouth shape, so it still looks fairly, relatively consistent. But they're just like applied a little bit differently. The issue with doing lip sync in Blender is that you can see like this scene. This layer is all mouth shapes, right? And I had to track their movement across the frame, a little bit more manually. Where if I was doing it in 3D in Blender, it was like the object for the mouth was already parented to the character in 3D space. So tracking the mouth was not a manual process at all. The hard part was just like switching between mouth shapes, which was really tedious in Blender. I did that using like the shader, like nodes in the shader tab, and just like basically like using mix nodes to dial in like whether one mouse shape was shown and the rest were not shown. And so it was just very tedious to go about it that way. Maybe there could have been an easier way, which is why I switched to DaVinci, because I was like, well, that seems just a little bit easier. I could just drag and drop the right mouth shape that I want. That's a lot easier. But then it's just a matter of like tracking the mouth, and that was a little tedious and difficult. Either way, it's tedious either way, but I preferred DaVinci a little bit, and it was a little bit smoother for me.